everybody. This is That Mad 85 here doing a singles match on the Bear side of the mat. And as promised, I was going to talk about the makeup of a good cycle for TV shows, house shows, I guess, and pay-per-view. The reason why I'm doing this is because Vince McMahon has been really changing things up. He seems to be really worried about his TV numbers. To the point of where on the last pay-per-view, Extreme Rules, he pulled 2 of the matches that were going to be on and moved them to Raw and SmackDown to give Raw and SmackDown hopefully a boost in viewers by putting those bigger matches on the TV shows instead of the pay-per-views. He also possibly changed the ending of some of the matches to extend feuds into the TV shows instead of having it actually play out and finish on the pay-per-view. All of this sacrifices the pay-per-view. And that's weird because the pay-per-view is supposed to be the big point of all of these shows. Of course, they have TV contracts. They want those numbers to be high so that they can charge more for the contracts. But once you have that contract money for TV, chances are you're not going to get a whole lot later. Where the money really comes in is all those same people that are watching it on TV for free for them, or not really free anymore because you had to buy a cable subscription or whatever. But they dole out more money for the pay-per-view, usually, or at least what used to be a good amount for a pay-per-view. So here's the change up now is that they have the WWE Network. Everybody that's bought into the network has paid $9.99. They're not making money off each one. They're making basically $9.99 a month. They have a lot of people that aren't going to get rid of it because of that, and they might have figured out that they're not pulling in a bunch of whole new users because of the pay-per-views either. They got a whole big library of content for people to watch besides the pay-per-views. They might have decided that pay-per-views aren't that important anymore. What's more important is the numbers on the TV, especially when they're battling against AEW, even if it's not, head-to-head Raw, SmackDown, and AEW. It's more of NXT and AEW. But the problem with that is that, at least me, I imagine most people, are still looking at the pay-per-views as the climax of the wrestling feuds, stories, and seasons. So, when they start not wanting to use the pay-per-views for that climax, then it really, at least it's leaving a bad taste in my mouth. So here's my take on how really they should schedule, specifically WWE, because of how many hours, how many shows they have, and how many pay-per-views they have. And this is different depending on how each show's run. So my suggestion for AEW would be different too, although I think AEW is doing just a fine job. In fact, even NXT is doing a fine job, and I can count them as separate because they don't really interact too much with SmackDown, Raw, and their pay-per-views, which are all intermingled. So, you have, at the moment, a lot of people on the roster, a lot of airtime, 3 hours a week for Raw, 2 hours a week for SmackDown, and you have a pay-per-view, let's say, once a month. So, I mean, the bare gist of it is that you want to figure out what are you going to have in your next pay-per-view. And you maybe even in the overall scheme of things, you have the 4 big pay-per-views, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and you're further trying to plan out what you're doing for the big ones. And even further, just having it all pan out for WrestleMania, the big climax. But again, generally, you're wanting to build up the 4, 5, 6 weeks until the next pay-per-view and have it pay off at the pay-per-view, these feuds and matches. And everything that happens on the TV show isn't going to be directly related to the next pay-per-view because you have so much time and so many talents, you don't have room for all of them on the pay-per-view. So, this is how things were run for a good deal of time. Even with less time on the TV side, and less pay-per-views per year. You would have so basically you have a lower card, mid card, and I guess what would you call it? High card. But the main events, the top tier talents that you have running, and you would want to design a show, and they kind of, because Raw used to be 1 hour, and you would design a show to maybe have a couple of low card talent fighting each other just to fill time, mid card talent trying to get themselves over and further their feud that's probably going to be on the pay-per-view, and then you have the high tier talent that is really driving the show, the reason why people are watching and are going to have the biggest main event matches at the pay-per-view. Now, as far as each show goes, Raw and SmackDown, we're kind of at a point, I guess, especially because of the numbers, but we're at a point where people are like, each match of each show needs to be, 5-star matches, and I really don't believe that. It's nice when it happens. I appreciate it and like it, but to be honest, I don't think the shows have to have those great of matches. I think they need to build towards having a great match at a pay-per-view. Okay, so let's go over my basic plan for how the shows should be run. So basically, I think they're planning ahead to the next pay-per-view. You want to have separate rosters, Raw and SmackDown. Keep them separate so that they can do their own thing. You can swap people from one brand to another if you want, but we don't need the same people traveling to both brands. And that might be a little bit different with the women's division right now because they're so short-handed. But in general, they should have 2 separate programs and only cross them over in special events if they want. But that being said, and we'll do this the way that WWE seems to do this on an per hour basis. Per hour basis, you should have an undercard match. It's going to be 2 people that are lower tiered. Give them a chance to duke it out, a chance to impress the crowd. They might not even have a feud going. It might just be putting people together to try them out, see how they work, see how they play with the crowd, see if you can build up a little momentum, and if they're doing good, promote them to mid-tier, mid-card. So then you have 1 or 2 mid-card battles, and these can be building storylines through fighting. These can be longer promos. These can be a squash match if you have somebody that you're wanting to move up towards the top of the line, top of the card type talent. You want to have them have a squash match to make them look strong. That makes sense. And then you have one of the top tier talents that are either going to have some sort of match or promos, vignettes, events, stuff to get them over. Again, you don't really need to have them have matches. People are waiting for their matches, and the less of them they're really seeing in the ring, the more anticipation they're going to have when they are in the ring. So you do this 3 times, 1 for each hour, or in SmackDown's case, 2 times, once for each hour. And as far as the top tier talent goes, naturally they're going to cycle in and out because you can't have the same person up the entire time. You can't have the same talent up the entire time, or else it just kind of gets tiring. So naturally they're going to slide down to mid card, and that's okay. And then with the mid card talents, if they're just not doing it, they're not getting over, then you want to. If they're just not doing it, they're not getting over, then you just want to push them down to low tier, give them time to try and build back up. And along with this, you want to have everybody with a direction. Everybody has something that they're trying to build towards. If they're low tier and maybe they don't have a feud, then you're just giving them characterization, something they can try to characterize themselves. If they have moments for vignettes, if they have moments as they're going to the ring, as they're going out of the ring, while they're in the ring, building that character. If they're mid talents, they have a storyline that they have in play and they want to build on that storyline. And this is a slightly different topic. If you want to give them this direction, let them go at it. Give them a little help with some of the writing crew, let them go at it. Or if you really just want to completely script everything they do, that's fine too. Let them go at it. But there shouldn't be the times when there's just, we don't have any creative direction for you, so you're just going to sit there and do nothing. That shouldn't be. And there shouldn't be, like the shows right now seem to be, they want every match there to be super quality, and it's not, and it shouldn't be. You should have the lower tiered trying to put off good matches, mid tiers trying to build their story through matches. These aren't the best matches. They're just building, showing off a little bit what they can do, trying to get some of that heat and rivalry inside the ring to build so that you can pay it off at the pay-per-view. And then when you're at the pay-per-view, you want to play out these feuds. If there's really a feud that you want to move on to the next, cycle, then you gotta do it in a good way. I would leave the bad finishes, that kind of stuff. Leave that for if you want the feud to end, but you want the heel to use heel tactics instead of winning by just being stronger. That's fine. But if you're gonna be like, oh, they cheated to win, let's have this match continue next pay-per-view, it's just kind of a waste of time. It doesn't really help anybody. But I think as far as WWE goes, that's the way to do it. NXT and AEW have their own things. They're slightly different, and I think they're doing a good job. But as far as Raw and SmackDown, it looks like they're changing towards wanting to be more TV-centric, less pay-per-view oriented, and I'm not enjoying it, but we'll see if you guys enjoy it. We'll see if they get better with their plan. Of course, tell us what you think down below in the comments. Click like. I'm going to point over here, but I don't know if it actually is. Click the like button if you like this video. Subscribe if you want to see more videos from us and be alerted for when they come out. And join us Wednesdays at 5 Central, 6 Eastern on John Bear Gaming's Twitch channel. Check us out on Twitter at ThatMatt85 and at John Bear Gaming, and find out what we're doing when we're doing it. Thanks for checking us out. See you later.